guys, it's Jess from Peace Out Books, and today I'm here with a new, different kind of video I've never done before, but it was requested a lot on my Instagram, and that is how to make book sleeves. So if you've heard of them, book sleeves are these little sleeves that you can just put your book in on the inside, and anywhere you carry it with you, it's safe, secure, you don't have to worry about it, no pages are going to be bent, they fit your book perfectly, they're cute. A lot of shops are popping up now that sell them, but I feel like the original was Bookbow, and that has exploded, become super popular, and she actually did like a Kickstarter campaign, and she's expanding, and so people are obsessed. What I do is I go and buy a half yard of fabric that I like, and then I use that to make my book pouches. They are using foam on the inside, which my mom already had. She said she uses the foam that she makes to make purses, which she has not made a purse in like a long time, but she has that kind of foam. She also went out and bought some for me at the store, so they have it at Joann's, just like a simple foam that you can put in between. But I am going to be showing you at my parents' house how to make one of these beautiful pouches, and they fit pretty much any book. Okay, so this is where I have everything set up. This is my work area. I am in my parents' family room. This is where I work. I set up a table, have my machine. You will need 2 pieces of foam cut out 8.5 by 10.5, as well as 4 pieces of fabric cut 8.5 by 10.5. I've chosen this really pretty fabric that says not all those who wander are lost, and it's not going to measure actually 8.5 by 10.5. I think it's going to be more like 10 by 8 once everything is sewn together. And you will also need some temporary adhesive and of course some pins. To start, what we want to do is take 1 piece of foam and 2 pieces of fabric. So we'll have these 2. This is the right side, this is the back side. So with your piece of foam, what you're going to do is you're going to spray it with the adhesive. Make sure you shake it. We're going to spray all over it. Then, this is going to be the outside of your pouch. So what you want to do is figure out which way you want it to be. So maybe I like, I don't know. I'll do it this way. You're going to line this up, right side up, so that the back is fixed, the adhesive, and then pat it down so that it sticks to the foam. Sometimes I'll lift up corners if it's not really stuck and spray some more, and then really stick it down there, so that it does a good job of sticking and not coming off when you actually have it as your pouch. Alright, so this is what your outside is going to be. What we're going to do next is take your second piece of fabric, this is going to be the inside, so make sure it is on backwards, lined up, so that when we have the seam, it's going to look like that. And this will be the inside, this will be the outside. So we're going to pin this top. We're going to do that with both sides. So now I have 2 pieces of the fabric layered together on each foam piece. Now I'm going to sew the seam right here and right here. Okay, so now I have my 2 pieces sewn together, so when I open them up, they look like this. And like I said, these 2 are going to be the outside, these 2 are going to be the inside. So now what we have to do is sew them all together. So these are the right sides. You're going to put them right sides facing each other. So when this is turned inside out, this will be the outside part on these insides, and these will be the inside. So what we're going to do is we're going to pin all the way around. We're going to leave an opening from here to here so that we can turn it inside out and reach in and grab everything and turn it all inside out, because that's how you get the lining on the inside. So we'll go ahead and pin this all together. You really want to make sure, I'm going to grab my pins, that these 2 seams are lined up. These are what I do first. You really want to make sure that you line up these 2 seams. These are what I always do first. These 2 right here. There's that 2. Then I come over and make sure that I line up these 2 seams. Got those 2 lined up and those 2 lined up. I put a pin right here because this is where we're going to stop my seam, and this right here is where I'm going to start my seam. I've got a big gap right here that I'll sew up later, but I have that so that I can reach in and turn everything around. All right. So this is how it's going to look when you go to sew it, and what I do when I start here, I make sure that I go forward, then I push the backwards button, backtrack a little bit and start again because I will be putting a little bit of pressure on that seam when I turn it inside out, so make sure that it does have a little more stability here, and also here when I end, I'll backtrack and go forward again to lock that stitch into place to make sure it does not come undone. So we are ready to sew this together. I put my needle down, push that up, swing it around, put the needle back down. As you can see, my seams are not straight or perfect at all. It really doesn't matter. I'm not that great at sewing, but it works. You can't even tell when you finish. Alright, so that was my stopping point, so I'm going to go forward a little. I'm going to press the backwards button to go back, and now go forward again. So now everything is together, and now I just have to turn it inside out. Alright, first you do need to clip your ends, so right here, take some scissors, clip right there. Over here, take some scissors, clip right there. To turn it inside out, you open your opening right here. Mine's ended up being a little smaller than I wanted it to be. Reach in, go for one of the corners, push it in so that you're pushing it in like that. You're going to want to turn it inside out, pull it through your opening. See how there's a lot of strain right there? That's why I wanted to make sure that my seam was extra strong and went over it. Alright, so because we put the spray adhesive on here, it should be nice and sticking to the foam. I'm going to go reach back in here and push that corner, the other corner that I didn't get, through that hole I made. So let's just keep on sticking those corners out. And so now we have it turned inside out. Turn those out. These won't matter at the end, but they're going to be on the inside. So this is your outside of your pouch. It looks super pretty. I love this fabric so much. This is the inside. What's left, I have to sew this seam up that was in the going to be on the inside. That's the hole I left. So I'm going to turn in those edges and pin so that I know where I need to sew. If you want a more polished look, you can hand sew it so that it matches the seam, but this is honestly going to be in the inside and no one's ever going to look at it, so I just decided to sew it by machine. As you can see, this seam is now closed, so there are no openings. I'll trim this up real quick. Alright, so if you can see, I have this seam closed, so now what I have to do is put this on the inside. So I'm going to open up that part and stuff this all inside. Now if you see, this kind of is wonky up here and it doesn't look as polished as an actual book bow. So what I do is I push this down a little because that's the seam pushing it up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pin this all around, and then I'm going to sew a seam around here so that this stays flat. So I'm going to go ahead and start pinning as opposed to what this looks like. It's all just like warbly and everything, so I'm going to start pinning. Alright, so now it looks like this. And I will warn you, I am not the best at sewing in a straight line, so mine do end up a little bit crooked, but that's okay because it's just for you. It's not like I'm selling this or anything, so I'm going to go ahead and sew my seam all the way around here. You can make it as small or as big as you want. I just kind of go for it and see whatever happens. So I'll go ahead and start sewing. Do you have all of that done? Not too bad. I've got to say I'm really proud of that line that I did. It's definitely not the worst that I've done, so that I'm super happy with that. And so that is how it looks. I'm going to trim off the excess thread. I think that's all of it. And that is my completed book sleeve. It is super pretty. That's what the inside looks like. It is a little bit more like loose inside, but I mean, it protects your book. The outside is very much stuck to the foam, so it should stay like that for a while. Mine I made like 6 months ago and it's still very much stuck to the foam, and it's perfect. I am obsessed with this fabric. The best part is choosing your own fabric, and so I'm super happy with how that turned out. And yeah, that is how you make a book sleeve. And that is how you make my little book sleeve book pouches. I hope you enjoyed. I hope this turned out okay. I know I'm going to have to do a lot of fancy editing to get this to work, and I hope everything was focused and was clear. If you have any questions, let me know down below. I'll also link down below my blog post where I explained how I made these and how I learned to make them. And that is all I have for you. I hope you enjoyed this. As always, thank you so much for watching and have a good day. Bye.